Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys had a good end to your week, and I hope that you are going to be having a great weekend. I'm super excited for this reading, or rather just for the week ahead, because I love Valentine's Day. And I decided that as we approach Valentine's Day, all of my readings are going to be relationship or love-based readings. So I'm not going to sprinkle in any non-love topics until after until after Valentine's Day. And I don't know how many videos that will be. I mean, it really just depends on my availability up until then, but I thought it'd be fun to just focus on relationships. So today's reading is all about what they love about you, right? They're eating you up. Like, you know the phrase, it's like, I could just eat you up. You are good. You look good enough to eat, right? So they're eating you up, right? Whoever this reading is about, this is about somebody who is eating you up. And so let's get into why, right? What is it about you that they love so much that they just can't get enough of? As you can see, I don't have any objects to choose from. I want to just get straight to it. So you'll have to choose from the images after this intro. Just take your time and trust your intuition as you choose your group, okay? And the usual disclaimer, these readings are for an unseen collective. You know your story more than I do. So take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If it doesn't resonate, it's probably for somebody else. Okay? So with that being said, all timestamps for each group is in the description box below. So I will catch you at your reading. Group 1, welcome to your reading. I want to start by saying that Group 1, I feel like the person who's eating you up, who just cannot get enough of you, I feel like this is somebody who they actually love a lot of things about you, right? They have a lot to say, because literally for every single deck, it felt like it just felt like there were so many cards that wanted to come out. It felt like if your person were to be asked this question directly, if it seems like their mind would just go to so many different things. There's so many different things they would want to point out. But alas, I did ask for Spirit to give me one card per deck. And so the first card we got out here is this gold spectrum card, okay? And I just want to, before I read the gold spectrum card, I just want to say overall, I feel like your person, what settled on coming out was, more than anything, what they can't get enough of is that you are so inspiring to them. They find you to just be inspiring, okay? You take their mind to different places. You cause them, you make them consider things differently, or things they just never considered at all before. With the gold spectrum, I'm reading from the Archangel Light Codes book. It says wisdom, inner knowledge, inner knowing, gratitude, appreciation, and value. So that's the gold spectrum. So I just want to start with the bottom of the list, right? Gratitude, appreciation, value. You are somebody, I'm hearing considerate, right? They can't get enough of how considerate you are of everything in your life, everything that you have, right? Because gratitude and appreciation, this is about kind of acknowledging and being grateful for, efforts made towards you in your life. And so this person, they see you as somebody who is very considerate of efforts, being made towards you, or the just fortunate circumstances that you may have. And they love how you are, that you don't have a problem expressing that gratitude with appreciation. I feel like this person, what they can't get enough of is how it's almost like, because you are so grateful and appreciative, they also become grateful and appreciative of you, right? It's like you carry this energy so well that it inspires the same feelings in them, where they find themselves being appreciative of the things that you do and grateful for the things that you do. With value here, I feel like this person, they can't get enough of how valuable you are, right? It's more than just, oh, you are valuable, right? They like that you're valuable, but it's about the amount. You may surprise this person because they find you to be so awe-inspiring, right? Awesome. They think you're awesome. I don't know what exactly you do, but it's almost like you are value, and you I'm hearing you set a bar high, right? And I think that's definitely something they can't get enough of. But remember, all of these little things I'm going to point out accumulate to a sense of inspiration, right? That's what makes you so addicting. Like I said, they can't get enough of you. They just want to eat you up. And it's because you're so inspiring, right? The conversations, the things you do, everything about you, it makes them think bigger. You know what I mean? A big part of why you're so inspiring is your inner knowledge, right? Your inner knowing, your wisdom, right? And so this wisdom could come from experience. It could come from your academics. It could come from your spirituality. It doesn't matter. It can come from all of these places. But with the gold spectrum, this person feels like it's your range of knowledge, right? It's your range of knowledge and how you apply this Mojo, sit down. Sit down. I'm so sorry. She is barking at anything. Okay. But what was I saying? Yeah, they feel like it's this range of knowledge that you have, and it's the way that you apply this knowledge that gives you this sense of gratitude and appreciation, right? This is where your value really lies, in how you use the knowledge that you have. Okay? Right under here we have shapeshift, and I feel like this is more so about flexibility. It's also making me think of mutability, right? You kind of know when to make changes, right? It's like you're not a stagnant person. You're not a static person. You're not that stubborn, is what I'm getting, right? You're flexible. If you need to make changes, you do. If you need to change your mind, you do. If you come across new information and you're being called to, redefine or reshape, you do. And I feel like they love this about you because in one sense, you're unpredictable, right? There's an unpredictability about you that they find interesting and attractive. But at the same time, they also feel like you are strategic, right? So it's like you're unpredictable, but really you're strategic. And it goes back to that wisdom, right? There's something about you and how you play this game, the game of life, that's very alluring, because I'm hearing they could learn a thing or two, right? They could learn a thing or two about this mutability that you have, right? To reshape yourself into what you need to be in that moment. Sorry, my throat's like really irritated. Next we have here this Four of Wands, okay? And so I just heard fun, right? So already this person finds you to be so fun. They love being around you. They feel like when you're together, you just get each other, right? You just connect. You and this person may feel like you guys are kindred spirits. But I'm also getting like 11:11 and how you make a wish, right? And I'm seeing how this person's hands are up. And it's almost like they're raising these plants. And so I feel like this is more so about your ability to manifest, right? That 11:11 energy, right? What they can't get enough of is your ability to attract things or get things to happen for you. And it makes me think of optimism as well with the 11:11 or that Four of Wands energy. It makes me think of like optimism, playfulness, positivity, right? There's also a sense of abundance. It's like behaving as if you already have it, celebrating in advance, right? And so this person feels like you attract with honey, right? You attract what you do because this gratefulness about you, right? This inner wisdom in regards to gratitude. It's like you're almost able to ask for anything. You can get anything you want, right? They can't get enough of this positive energy. And I feel like maybe this is something that they love, right? And maybe this is something very very literal, right? Like maybe they feel like you're so sweet to them, you could get anything you want from them. And they love that maybe you approach them in this sweet way, right? Or in this appreciative way. They love how you approach them when it comes to what you want. And they feel like they will give you anything you want. If you're coming at them like that, right? If you're approaching them like that, they have no problem giving you what you want, right? And so I just heard lucky, right? They might feel like you're a little lucky because of that. Just this energy you have when you come with a request. It more than likely allows you to get it. Right underneath that, we have justice, which I think is interesting, right? They like that you play fair, right? And when I say play fair, I'm getting in high key a very strict way, right? When the rules have already been defined, it's only fair to deliver the appropriate punishment, right? It wouldn't be fair to be lenient on somebody after they break the rules, especially when the rules are so clearly defined. And so I'm not going to lie, I get with this justice card, they see you as somebody very strict, right? And you have, it's like a moral code, okay? And I feel like this wisdom that you have, like I said, it could come from anywhere, but I'm getting a strong sense of like spiritual wisdom, psychological wisdom, right? Like you could be maybe you know a lot about psychology or you know a lot about spirituality. There's something here really when it comes to the mind, right? And understanding how people interact and how our minds operate, right? And so your perspective of the world to somebody who it's hard to explain, but you are somebody who you go by the book, right? If somebody shows you that they're a liar, you take that seriously. You consider it, right? Seriously, you apply, the appropriate consequence based on, the limits or the boundaries or the guidelines that have already been determined. So it's like, if the law says you receive 10 years for car theft, you're the person who's like, well, I guess you're going to have to serve 10 years for car theft. Right? You're not going to, and this is an example. This is not like pro law or pro policing or anything. I'm just saying, like, the way you are, it's like, if somebody shows you something about them or they do something that's not right, you're not the type to bypass or override the consequence just because you don't want to see them in trouble. You deliver consequences. And I feel like this has more so to do with your personal boundaries, right? You're not really trying to enforce anything outside of you, but this person, they definitely see, like, when it comes to how you're treated and how you go through life, you're pretty strict about it. You know, there are rules. And I feel like I said, these rules go back to this wisdom that you have in regards to life, right? This wisdom that you have is a lifestyle, right? This wisdom that you have has been incorporated in your lifestyle in a way that, you know, it truly changes how you act in every aspect of your life, right? And so this person, this inner wisdom, because it affects how you act in almost every situation of your life, it has your overall value. That is why it's so high, right? Your overall value is high because your actions truly do align with your principles, right? So you do good because your principles are based on that, if that makes sense, right? All your actions are based on your principles. We have this Ace of Wands here. So first of all, I do feel like this person, what they can't get enough about you is definitely how attractive you are. But when it comes to you being inspiring, right, with this flame, this person, it's like, I'm getting like little blips of ideas, right? I'm not getting a lot of big ideas, but little blips of small ideas, right? And this person, or like just little things that you say, I'm seeing like little light bulbs going off in people's heads, right? And so it's like with this Ace of Wands, they can't get enough of these little light bulb moments, these epiphanies, right? Maybe you come to them with your epiphanies. Maybe you're like, oh my God, I just realized, or have you ever thought, or I've been thinking about, right? And so whenever you have these moments, or whenever they have these moments with you, they love those moments because you really are thinking outside the box. You really are considering something, and it's like, wow, I didn't consider that. Yeah, it's like there's so much value to what you bring, you know, in terms of the mental space that they can't get enough of, right? So this person, they may really like listening to you, right? Maybe they don't necessarily have too much to say or add, but they love listening to you because you say things that really like make them stop and go, okay, right? And I feel like with the Ace of Wands, I think I wanted to say something about unpredictability too, but I feel like this has more to do with like stopping and start, or like new starts is what I'm getting, right? The shape shift, right? They feel like there's all these new starts, right? They can never tell when you're going to have these new ideas or going to have these moments. It's like not predictable, right? And it can happen often, but in this like unusual pattern. And so there's this energy around you of like, they can expect you to be unexpected for the most part, right? They can expect you to catch them off guard. They can expect you to be unpredictable. You know what I mean? And then last here we have the Wheel of Fortune. And I feel like, oh my God, it's really all tied together, right? Because with the Wheel of Fortune, we're going back to this manifestation energy, getting what you want kind of energy, right? With the Wheel of Fortune. It's almost like a vibe where this person, what they love about you or what they can't get enough about you is how in control you are, right? Of your perception, your mindset, right? How in control you are of, you know, the life you live from their perspective, right? Maybe you feel like you have no control, but from their perspective, you have this resolve, right? Like even when I was talking about the mutability of your energy, where if you need to make a change, you do, that's coming through here too, where it's like you are able to kind of have this composure or have this sense of control because you're not really trying to control anything, right? You're not trying to really control anything outside of you. You're controlling you. You're just controlling you, right? And that allows you to attract and manifest, right? Having that resolve, knowing when to stop, knowing when to let go, right? Knowing when to not force anything. And it's like when you tap into that energy, things kind of just start working in your favor, or so it seems. But that's because you're not it's almost an illusion, right? Or rather, it's a redirect. Because when you have this energy of like everything just seems to work out for you, the reality is that you're actually only putting energy towards things that will work out for you, right? When you stop forcing things, you're no longer on these paths of working in the direction of resistance, right? But when you are in this energy of trying to force something, then it will seem like, quote unquote, things aren't working out for you because those things won't work out. When you're trying to force something, the effort to reward ratio is in the negatives. It's terrible. And so that makes you feel like, wow, things just don't work out for me. And that person over there, things just work out for them. But it's like, yeah, they do work out for them, because when they notice that there's resistance, or when they notice that something is not, working with them, they shapeshift, they redirect focus, they re-strategize, right? And so now that path that wasn't working out is no longer even in the equation, right? You go towards something that does work with you, and it works out. It's all really illusions, but that's the thing. It's like you have this wisdom of this wisdom allows you to have this level of composure, that it allows you to seem in control in such a way that it's almost as if you're turning this wheel. And it's like, maybe you're not really turning the wheel, but you're definitely like giving the wheel the information needed, right? You're feeding the universe what it needs to truly know what it is you're asking for, right? You don't accept the things you don't want. You're specific about what you do want. And like I said, you're not forcing anything. And you abide by your principles, right? You just abide by your principles. And part of your principles are not forcing anything. You know what I mean? And so this person, they just love what they can't get enough of at the end of the day is how you, I guess I could just repeat myself, but they can't get enough of how you live through your beliefs and how you are so knowledgeable of like, in regards to how you move through the world. So I don't really know exactly what your principles are, but I do feel like these are principles, like I said, that have a lot to do with how to interact with other people and how people think. So like I said, spiritual or psychological type perspective. And it allows you to have a life of ease, or appear to have a life of ease. Like I said, you have composure, right? You have a composure because of this. And so they really just eat this up about you, right? It's almost like you're a nun. You live in this devotion, or like you said, you really do live in your principles. You're not like a fraud. You're not a fake. Okay. So that's what I have for you today, Group 1. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment. And if you would like to be notified whenever I post new videos, then make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Hi, Group 2. Welcome to your reading. While I was doing your reading, I was thinking, I was like, what should my next reading be? Right? What should my next reading be? And I'm thinking that it's going to be Who Wants to Call You, right? Who wants to call you? Anyway, just on my mind. If you think that's a good idea for the next reading, then let me know in the comments, okay? But yes, Group 2, why are they eating you up right now, right? What do they love about you? What can they not get enough of? I will say the energy just initially was very different from group one. In group one, the cards, like when I was shuffling, it just felt like there was so much that wanted to come out, right? There was like so many different ways or different things this person could point out. But with group two, I got a different energy. It's like each deck, the card came out almost immediately. One card. There was like, it was very straightforward. And I feel like maybe for this group, you and this person, you guys just really started talking or dating, right? There's something new where maybe this person doesn't really know too much about you yet, right? They might not know enough about you yet to really give out a whole list of what they may like about you. And what they do like about you is that it's almost like what they do like about you is that they have access to you, right? They have access to you. Now, this could also be somebody that you dated before or you talked to before, right? Maybe you weren't in like a full-blown relationship, but you could have talked to this person before. And so what they really like about you now is kind of this access that you're giving them. All right. The first card we have out is Archangel Azrael. And at the bottom it says celestial peace and unity. Okay. And so when I saw this card, I immediately felt like celestial peace and unity. I heard keep peace, right? Keep the peace. It made me think of how maybe they feel like you prioritize or you are prioritizing your relationship and your unity over whatever this conflict is or was in the past, right? They feel like you want peace with them. You want unity with them, right? And so that's something that they can't get enough of, right? This is why they're eating you up, because you want to work with them, right? I also heard help a brother out, right? Like, so this person, they feel like you are willing to work with them, right? You're willing to help them out. Whether that's like in their own personal life or in terms of helping them through this connection, right? Maybe you're willing to talk things out with them. Maybe you're willing to explain where you're coming from. This person could have not necessarily had this type of energy before, right? Whether they deserve it or not, I definitely feel like in the past, I feel like whether they deserve this energy or not, this energy that they feel that they're receiving from you, it is something that they have not received before, right? Either to this extent or at all. And you being willing to work with them, it makes them really excited and focused on you, right? It's almost like this part of them that has never been fulfilled is getting a little taste of it, right? They're getting a little taste of unconditional love or what it means for, like, maybe they've dated people in the past or they've messed with people in the past that immediately assume the worst or are downright bad and dirty, and they'll cross you, and they'll, maybe they dated people that were high-key their ops, or, maybe they've just had a ratchet dynamic or a super toxic dynamic in the past. And so having a dynamic with you where your first inclination is not to assume they're doing something bad, but to bridge the gaps of understanding, that it has them going like, whoa, what? Oh my God. Now, I would say be careful with that, okay? But let's get deeper into the reading. So the card Archangel Azrael, it says, and let me show you because that's what I've been doing. So Archangel Azrael, fear not the transition of ending. It is simply a new beginning. Recall your entirety and amalgamate your total essence into your present. Hold on to nothing. Fear nothing. Live, laugh, and love. Oh my God. Oh my God. I just heard basic bitch. So somebody a basic bitch. I'm not going to lie. This person, they may like that you're a little basic. If you don't feel like you're basic, that's okay. This is primarily their perspective of you. but there's something about you that they feel is within reach to some degree, right? And I feel like not 100%. You're definitely out of this person's league, but you might not be, from their perspective, the toppity top, right? Because when I hear basic bitch, I'm thinking of an opposite, or like, you know, an offset of that would be like what, the bad bitch, right? If you're not a bad bitch, you're probably a basic bitch, or maybe there's a third one that's like just really, you just don't got your shit together. I don't know. Like, I guess the female equivalent of a dusty would be that maybe third option, right? So you're not dusty, but maybe they feel like you don't wear certain things, or you don't do certain things, or you don't keep up with the status quo in the way a quote unquote bad bitch or a trendy type of bitch might be. And so they feel like you're like a safer option is what I'm getting, right? And so when I heard live, laugh, love, I definitely thought basic bitch. But there are certain things that stood out to me. Fear not the transition of ending. It is simply a new beginning, right? Like I said, this person, you don't, maybe you guys did break up, or you stopped talking to them, or you took a break from them, or whatever. But they feel like they love that you didn't see that ending as the end, right? They love that you didn't see that ending as permanent, right? You're still willing to work on things with them, basically. Recall your entire me. It says, hold on to nothing, fear nothing. They love that you are willing to work with them and let things go, right? And so this makes me think that definitely this person has done something shady. Whether you took it as shady or not, this person, from their perspective, they know that they have done something that was shady or not right, right? Remember I was saying how with this keep the peace, you are prioritizing staying together and working things out. And so remember I was saying that example of they may have been in relationships where their partner's first instinct was to call them out, was to assume that they were doing something shady, right? Your first instinct is not to accuse them. Your first instinct is to not be suspicious of them. Your first instinct is to bridge the gap of understanding. And so for them, that's you, like, you know, in a lot of ways. Hold on. Sorry, my dog was trying to open the door and she couldn't open the door. All right. But yes, like, you are willing to overlook, right? Because when I saw hold on to nothing, fear nothing, it's not necessarily that you are truly acknowledging that they're doing certain things and then letting it go. Some of you could be doing that, but that's not exactly what I saw. I saw more so of just not assuming it was bad and then choosing to move forward anyway, right? You're not holding on to what you could maybe think is pettiness, right? Why would I hold on to that? It was an accident. Why would I hold on to that? He didn't mean it that way. Why would I hold on to that, right? And so they see you as somebody who, you know, they love that you are willing to, you know, I would just say let it go, right? Underneath that we have forgive. And so remember, both of these cards are really referencing this some past issues, right? And so like I said, you could have talked to this person or briefly dated them in the past and something happened and you just had to let it go. But they love that this is not a true ending for you and that you are willing to kind of forgive them and let them back in. The next card we have here is this 8 of Wands, and this is all about opportunities, right? Ooh, and then right underneath that we had the Star. And so maybe when you first walked away from this person or was upset with this person, they really truly did believe that that they would never be able to attain you again, that you were gone, right? They truly believed that you were going to be out of reach with this Star card, right? And with this 8 of Wands, they may even prayed or hoped that, you know, like in a concentrated manner, that they would have another opportunity with you. And they did get it, right? You gave them a new opportunity. You were willing to let them back in. With the Devil underneath here, though, They could love that it's the sex that got them back in. They could be acknowledging that maybe you guys made up with sex, right? Or maybe when you guys made up, you had sex, right? And so they kind of attribute some of the willingness by you to like let them back in to the quality of their, you know, their talents in bed. They're like, the quality of my tool is what got me back into such and such as group two's life, right? Group two forgave me, right? Because they liked the so much. You know what I mean? And so I'm just getting this energy of this person, what they love about you or why they can't get enough of you at this time is, it has to do, of course, with your nature. But it's also more so to do with the access. Like I was saying, they can't get enough of you because you are giving them this access. But like I said, it's because they really thought they lost it. Like they really thought you were done with them, you know? And this person, when I see this devil card too here, it really makes me think this person has some trouble with their worth, right? The perception of their own worth. It's almost like this is their projection. They truly put a lot of value in their sexuality, right? How they use their tool, right? And so for them, maybe if you guys had not had sex or sex or whatever, I don't know how censored I should be, I guess, but maybe if you hadn't been intimate with them, maybe they feel like the chances of you letting them back in were going to be slim, right? Maybe in their own mind they heavily relied on their sexuality to convince you to forgive them, right? And so because you did end up being intimate with them, they feel like it validates their belief that their worth is in their tool. Their tool is what got them to this point. And so, yeah, this person, I feel like they have a self-esteem issue. I'm not going to lie. They have a self-esteem issue, and they may very well be toxic because with this devil card here too, and just the way they're thinking, right? They have toxic tendencies that are heavily tied to their self-worth, okay? And so that's why what they love about you right now is so tied to the access, because that's where they put their worth, right? This is where they put their worth, right? And whether or not somebody likes them or wants to be with them or is giving them a chance, or, you know, and because I feel like if you were not to give them another chance, their perception of their self would deteriorate, is what I'm getting. Their perception of themselves here is very much tied to you letting them back in, because they don't believe in themselves. And like I said, even the treatment you're getting, they haven't gotten this before, right? Maybe, like I said, the other people they've dated. And look, that's why I'm getting, like, this person is a little shady. I do think they're a little shady. Because I'm getting, like, in the past, they had partners or girlfriends or boyfriends who whatever, who immediately thought the worst, right? Who immediately assumed suspicious behavior from this person, right? But I'm getting from many of you, those people were right. Those people were right. For example, let's say they had a past partner calling them out for DMing a bunch of girls on Instagram or liking a bunch of Instagram models' pictures and stuff, right? Which basically means OF models, right? And in the past, those partners would immediately be like, oh, you're trying to do this. You're cheating. You ain't shit. You're da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Right? And they would have maybe some argument, some conflict, but then those people would cut them off and they would be done with them, right? And now y'all are forever not cool with each other because such and such on that ish. But with you, instead of immediately assuming that they were trying to cheat on you, you assume that, oh, he said he was just trying to collaborate on blah, 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 or he was just liking people's pictures. It doesn't, Nothing really happened, and he told me that he wasn't sure. I'm going to believe him, right? And so that's the type of vibe I'm getting, where they really are shady, but they've never had somebody give them grace. Okay? They've never had anybody really give them grace. This is their, I don't want to say first time, because, maybe they mama love them, but this is, I don't want to say first time, but this is a time where they're really being shown grace, and it's a lovely feeling. It's lovely. You feel loved, right? They haven't really had somebody want to work with them, right? Like I said, they're getting a taste of this, and they really like it. They really like it because it makes them feel good. If they're lying, it makes them feel smart, right? When you believe them, right? When you take them back, it makes them feel like they can get away with anything. It makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel, and look, I'm just keeping it for realios. You know what I mean? Like, that's what they like. That's what feels good. That's why they're eating you up right now, because it's so validating to their ego to not be shut down, to be continue to be given to, right? And I feel like the reason I'm explaining it this way is because Spirit wants me to, right? Now, if you know that this person is not shady, then that part of the reading, please leave it. It is for the people that need to hear it. That this person with this devil here, they like that they are giving they like that you are giving them the opportunity to keep it up, right? And that's why I feel like you don't know them that well, and they don't know you that well. Even if you did talk a little bit in the past, it wasn't for very long. Y'all don't know each other like that. Okay. Here next we have the Queen of Swords. And this image is so important to me because let's just look at it. We all know who the Queen of Swords is, right? She has been hurt before. She has her boundaries high. She's strict. She's strategic. She is, selective about what she says. She's harsh. She's cold. But look at this image. We have these devilish hands, right, of the devil. These devilish hands putting this green necklace around her neck. This necklace is glowing, and it makes me think of the one from The Little Mermaid, right? So it's like a magic necklace to change something about you, right? And the fact that it's green, I feel like it has to do with the heart chakra, opening your heart. This person, they love that they've been able to give you some type of device. They love that they were able to give you a device, i.e. their wand, that appeals to your heart. They love that they've been able to appeal to your heart, change something in your heart chakra, heart area, to be more receptive to them. They feel like, and this is their perception, they feel like they've given you something to make you be more receptive to their advances, right? And they love that. Remember, this is about power, feeling powerful. This person loves that with you, their devices work. That's why they're eating you up. They love that with you, their little lies and tricks and narratives work. Right? It makes them feel smart. It makes them feel capable, competent, powerful. Right? And it's like, yes, you were mad at them with the Queen of Swords, but they found a way in. They found a way to appeal to you. And with this Ace of Cups, it's another chance, another relationship with you, another chance. They get a new start with you. Right? And underneath that we have the Wheel of Fortune. So this person, they feel like they were able to work things out in their favor. They feel like they were able to turn the tides of their fate when it comes to you from their own efforts, right? A bit from their own efforts. But like I said, they love that with you it works. It's like once they saw that you believed the lie, once they saw that you believed the story that they were telling, it was like, oop, game on, right? They got excited then because now they're like, oh, my shit will work here. My tricks will work here, right? The stories I'm telling, the bullshit I'm giving, it's going to work here because this person wants to work with me. This person wants to give me a chance, right? I'm getting new beginning, opportunity, right? Working their way into your heart here with the Queen of Swords, okay? And so that's why I'm like, do they even know you? Do you even know them like that? Like this just feels so surface and new. But like I said, the reason they're eating you up right now, what they love about you is that you are willing to give them another chance. You are willing to work with them. You're willing to hear them out. And you're actually being receptive to them and a new opportunity with them. Okay? So that's all I have for you today, Group 2. If you enjoyed this reading, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment. And if you would like to be notified whenever I post new videos, then make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Bye, Group 2. Group 3, welcome to your reading. We're going to get right into it. Why your person is eating you up, okay? Your person is eating you up, Group 3. What do they love about you? Why can't they get enough of you? So before I get into the cards, I just want to say that I definitely get this vibe that your person sees you as somebody who has been through some hardships, right? I heard fall apart, right? You've watched a couple things, maybe one or a couple things fall apart in your life, whether that has to do with family, friends, money, jobs. Like you have been at a loss, right? You have been at a loss in your life, and your person sees you as somebody who has a lot of resilience, right? The way you've emerged from these hardships, right? What you do with these lemons or these bad cards that you're dealt. This person sees you as very resilient. And it's your resilience that they can't get enough of. It's your resilience to keep going, right? Your ability to kind of see your glass half full in many ways, right? You still consider what you can do, even when something's taken from you or when things don't work out. You still look to yourself in regards to what you can do, what can be done, right? So let's just get into the reading, Group 3. So the first card you got out here is Universal Coherence. And I mean, this card looks serious, right? This card looks serious. Let's read what the book says about Universal Coherence. It's a paragraph. Universal Coherence, unity. Enter the doorway of unity. Step into the portal of coherence. Each step you take reunites you back into you, reunites you back with all. Energy is all there is, and energy is all that is. Identify the individualization of energy in all its forms, but foremost, remember its original origin, for it is also yours. My gosh, I love this paragraph. Screenshot it or pause if you want to reread this. But I feel like basically you're giving the way they see you, it's giving an energy of acceptance, right? These challenges that you faced, you have not allowed yourself to internalize these challenges in a detrimental way. You haven't allowed these difficulties that you've gone through make you see less of yourself, make you see yourself as incapable. Instead, like I said, you basically just accept your circumstances, right, as events that can happen and do happen to many people. And you kind of have this understanding that the only thing you really can control is yourself, your response, right? How you go about, like I said, dealing with these lemons or these bad cards that you've been dealt, right? Because there's a lot of, I mean, we have so many options, right? And that's why at the end of the day, we have free will. We have free will because every move we take determines our future, right? And it's up to us to determine that future. So free will gives us that right, you know? And so if you see that you have all these lemons, you can either stomp and scream, you can throw a tantrum, you can complain to the world, you can hide, you can bury yourself alive, right? You can die, you can, you know, there's all these negative ways you can react to having bad circumstances. But you can also work harder, you can also do research, you can also be innovative, you can also fight your way out, you could also build your way up, you could also, right? And maybe some of those options are harder, right? Because you have to go against the tide. You have to go against the status quo. It's going to require a little bit more effort on your part to survive. But that's why resilience is what it is, because despite the extra effort it requires of you to survive, you do it anyway. You push forward, right? And so this person, they really admire this about you, that you don't internalize these struggles. You don't internalize these things. It's like a difference between a mindset that life just happens to you. There's so many people out there who they see these bad circumstances as just life happening to them, and there's nothing they can do about it, and they just have to suffer, right? That's their life. But you don't have that mindset. You say, yeah, that happened to me, but that doesn't mean that I have no control. Yes, that happened and I was affected, but that doesn't mean I don't have any agency over anything in my life. That doesn't mean there's nothing I can do, right? So you have this mindset of like, there's something I can do, you know, like this doesn't mean I'm weak, right? It's like you understand kind of like the nature of things in some ways, and it just keeps you in a mind state where, you know, you're not weighed down by your failures, basically. And when you're, because when you're weighed down when you're weighed down by your failures, it's hard to keep going, right? So because you don't let yourself get weighed down by every little thing that don't work out, you still have stamina, you have energy, you have optimism, right? You're still ready to go because you know that some of that stuff is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of circumstance, right? Here we have Tyrant in reverse, and I kept it in the reverse because I feel like this person sees you like you're not trying to control things that are not in your control, basically. They see you as somebody who is not trying to be the end all be all, the say all, right? You're not trying to be the rule maker, right? You're just trying to do the best you can, right? You're not, it's more so about the ego. You're not so caught up in your ego that you have to control everything. And they, like I said, they admire this about you. They can't get enough of this. And I wonder why, right? I feel like for me, I'm getting more of a sense of ease, right? This person, they really like the sense of ease in your relationship. Things are easy with you. There's not all this weird pushback, right? There's not all this maybe even arguing, bickering, because you, like I said, you're not so in your ego, right? You don't have to be right about everything. You don't have to win every discussion, because to you, the discussions aren't competitions, right? So you don't need to win it, right? And so this person, the fact that you can kind of work with the universe, and that extends to everything, right? Because you can work with the world around you without trying to control it. Your energy is just kind of like, I don't want to say addictive, but your energy is just really appealing to them. They love being around you. They really love your relationship because there's this energy of acceptance, right? Maybe they've been in relationships where they've had partners try to control every single thing, right? Control the outcome of conversations. Like I said, they can't be wrong. They are always right. They have to win every single, conflict, even though you might not even be trying to compete with them, right? You're just trying to let them know something. but because they feel called out, now it's a battle of wills, right? They can't just hear you out. They got to prove that they didn't do anything wrong. Maybe they've had relationships like that. And so with you, it's like really refreshing. It's like, wow, I can breathe. I can breathe with group 3 because they're not, always, coming up behind me, attacking me for this and that. They're not always trying to have a conflict. They like that they can actually resolve things with you, right? Here, now, I will say this is where it gets a little tricky, right? This is where it gets a little tricky. Because this person, they also like I said, things feel easy with you or easier. Part of it is because of your financial situation. Okay. With the 5 of Pentacles here, they love that you are dependent in some ways. They love that you don't necessarily have it all, right? And I mean, the fact that I even said it all, this might not even necessarily have to do with your actual money or finances, right? They may like that they have a place to stay and you need a place to stay, right? They may like that they have a car and you need rides, right? They like that it's like that they like that there is something that you need, right? It could literally be money where you don't have enough money or you don't have a lot of money. And so they like that they can kind of meet your needs. You know what I'm saying? They like that you have these needs that need to be met that are not being met is what I'm getting with the 5 of Pentacles, right? And so it also could just be literally that you make less than them, right? You make less, or you're not making enough, or you're not making a lot, or maybe you had some financial hardships that could have, either had you homeless or unstable housing or needing to move a lot, or you had a small house or not the best place to live or something here where it's like there's definitely like instability, right? It's not specifically to do with your literal money, but definitely has to do with like your material resources, your access to resources, your ability to obtain those resources being compromised. And this is something that they eat up. And they eat up because they feel like they can be needed, right? They feel like they can be useful. Like I said, they have a car, you need rides. They love that you ask them to pick you up and take you here and drop you off and this and that. They love it. They love it because 1, they can be around you. And then 2, they can become a fixture of your life, right? The more you depend on them for a ride, the more they feel, like they're doing for you, right? And that's where we get with this 10 of Wands, right? Supporting you. Notice how this man is holding this woman up. This person, they can't get enough of being needed, right? Being able to support you, right? This is something that really turns them on. It could be the dynamic, something about the dynamic, right? It feeds their own ego. And so that's why I said this is the part where we got to be careful, because they like that you're not too in your ego, but this dynamic where they're able to support you in some way definitely feeds theirs. And so to an extent, that means your lack of depending on your ego or relying on your ego or inserting your ego also feeds their ego, right? It allows room for their ego, right? And so it's almost like you give them this space to really you give them this space to be this provider is what I'm getting, right? They can be a provider with you because you need them, right? And like I said, this gets them so turned on. This gets them just so, like I said, they can't get enough of it. They can't get enough of it. You know what I'm saying? You could ask them to pick you up in the middle of the night. They probably would, because it makes them feel like they are just taking care of you, like handling you. You know what I mean? And so it's really up to you to determine if in your situation, in your individual situation, if this person has good intentions or not. There's nothing wrong with ego, you know, but if you feel like this person, they like the dynamic, the imbalanced dynamic more than you, that's something to be wary of. Whereas for some of you, this person, it's not necessarily that they like this dynamic, but they like being needed, and they like helping you. And so they're really feeding off of this opportunity to help you. You know what I mean? So it's up to you. It's going to be different for all of you if this is coming from a good place or a bad place. Okay. But I feel like for some of you, I feel like it's mostly coming for a good place, because even after this 10 of Wands, we're back at this 8 of Wands, right? We're back at your resilience. And so, like I said, this person, they're really turned on, and they really love, and they can't get enough of being able to support you and help you when you need it, right? The only thing is, like, because that 5 of Pentacles is singled out, that reasoning is singled out. That's why I give it the side eye. That they can't get enough that you are lacking. They are eating up that you are lacking something and in need of something. You know what I mean? It's not just that they can't get enough of being able to support you. It's like both go hand in hand, because that somebody can support you and you not be in a 5 of Pentacles energy. You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. But going from this to this 8 of Pentacles and then this 5 of Cups, it's like it's almost like, I would say, they feel like you deserve it, because you are so resilient, because you are so willing to keep pushing and keep doing your best, and you are an acceptance, and you work with you're still diligent, right? You still have that devotion and discipline despite the cards being dealt. And it's because you have an acceptance. You understand it's not a reflection of you that certain things didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? It's like they feel like you deserve even more so for them to come in and help you out with some things. It's like, look, you have been doing all this work for such and such how long? Yeah, I'm going to pick you up, and, yeah, why wouldn't I? Right? You've been working so hard. Of course, I'm going to come pick you up and take you over here and help you run some errands. You know what I mean? That's the vibe I'm getting. It's like this person feels like, well, you've been, it's like they want to reward you, right? It's like, I don't even want to say reward you, because that sounds weird. It's more like reimbursement, right? They see you doing all this work and being so independent, taking care of your stuff. Like I said, you're not trying to control your situation. You're just focusing on what you can do. It's like they want to come in and reimburse you for all those efforts. It's like, look, you deserve to get your nails done. You deserve to go to a spa. Let me take you on a date. Let's go to a show. Like, I just want to treat you or take care of you, because you're still pushing and doing that work despite this disappointment, right? And so, and maybe these are just clarifiers, right? Maybe these are just clarifiers, right? That with this 5 of Cups, they're clarifying that all this work is in spite of this heartbreak or this disappointment, right? Like I said, fall apart. You've had relationships fall apart. You've had circumstances fall apart. Family relationships just fall apart, slip through your fingers. You know what I mean? And you had to rebuild from that, right? And so even this 10 of Wands, maybe this is, clarifying the 5 of Pentacles, right? It's because, because they're able to come in and support you, right? I don't know. I would just keep that in mind. But yeah, I feel like this person, they can't get enough of your resistance. Your resistance? Resilience. This person can't get enough of your resilience, group 3. And it's very admirable. And I think ultimately what it is that this resilience about you, it makes them want to make up for it. It makes them want to make up for it, reimburse you. It makes them feel like you're worthy of, that sounds so gross, right? It makes them feel like you are worth them coming in and helping, because maybe they feel like you will appreciate it more. You'll actually be grateful for it. Or maybe, like I said, they just feel like you deserve it. You've been doing so much on your own, and they just want to come in and take care of you, is what I'm getting, right? This resilience that you have, they eat it up because it makes them want to take care of you. It makes them want to give you, quote unquote, a soft life, if that makes sense. So anyway, that's all I have for you today, Group 3. If you enjoyed this reading and or it resonated, then go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment, and if you would like to be notified whenever I post new videos, then make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell.